For the most comprehensive, accurate, up-to-date news, more people turn to the proven leader, Channel 3, Connecticut's news station. From breaking stories to consumer and health news, you've made Channel 3 your #1 news station. Mornings, noon, 5, 5:30, 6, 11, and weekend evenings. Thank you, Connecticut, for continuing to make Channel 3 your #1 news station. Now, Eyewitness News Nightbeat.
Good evening. It's been a deadly day for off-the-road travel in Connecticut.
A 15-year-old boy was killed, and in a separate incident, a man was critically injured after accidents involving all-terrain vehicles. Are these ATVs dangerous to drive? Nightbeat reporter Dee Griffin is live in Southington near the scene of the deadly accident. Dee?
Denise, the field on the other side of this fence is full of electric wires and towers, and for that reason, signs are posted all over warning people to stay out. Despite the signs, kids, though, they like to come in and ride their bikes. Well, today, a 15-year-old boy took his ATV for a high-power ride that turned fatal.
I rode it without a helmet, and I know I should have, because I know what could happen. And now I have to face reality.
The reality is, Sarah Moore's 15-year-old cousin Jonathan is dead, another victim of an all-terrain vehicle accident. Jonathan Emmons was carrying a passenger on his four-wheel ATV along a familiar yet bumpy road. Suddenly, something went wrong. Through the trees, you can see where the ATV stopped.
It went off the road, and one of them was injured. Both of them were injured, but one was very seriously injured.
Emmons was life-starred to a local hospital where he died. The area where the accident happened is a regular hangout for neighborhood kids to ride motorbikes like ATVs.
Yeah, usually we're down here like every day, and there's kids all over hitting jumps and on dirt bikes and ATVs. Some people are on regular bikes.
When attempting the jump, Andrew describes, riders speed up an incline, dive over a pit on the other side. The jump can send kids several feet into the air.
Depends how fast you're going, really. Like if you hit it good or not, if you're experienced.
The kids are getting that experience illegally by sneaking onto this private property. Jonathan Emmons' aunt says accidents happen here a lot, and this death proves it's time for better barriers.
No amount of police action is stopping them. So I sincerely feel that put a wall up if they're not going to, either sell the property, make it a safe park, or cement it up so they can't get through any access to it.
Although it's too late for her nephew, only time will tell if the reality of what happened on this bike can save others.
Not being able to be with him now is hard.
And family members tell me that Jonathan was a safe driver. Neighbors say he was a good boy who will be missed. The other passenger on the bike was taken to the hospital for treatment of his injuries. No word on his condition. Back to you in the studio.
Dee Griffin live in Southington. And 34-year-old Daniel Bukowski is in critical condition tonight after a serious accident in Cromwell. His ATV struck a tree on Field Road near the River Highlands Golf Club. Bukowski was thrown from the ATV when it rolled over. He was taken by Lifestar to Hartford Hospital.
An autopsy is set for tomorrow after a fisherman found a body floating in the Connecticut River off Old Saybrook. The partly clothed and partly decomposed remains were taken to the state medical examiner in Farmington. Authorities don't know the victim's sex, much less the identity. Police are investigating a drive-by shooting tonight in Hartford's Frog Hollow section near the intersection of Park and Zion Streets. Witnesses tell Eyewitness News a woman had to be rushed to the hospital after she was shot at least once. No word on her condition, and police are still on the scene. Early this month, a 19-year-old man was shot to death at the same location.
For the first time in 11 years, Karen Aparo tonight faces no criminal charges. Prosecutors have now dropped the last charge against her. Aparo was a teenager when she was accused of helping her boyfriend kill her mother. That was in Glastonbury back in 1987. She was eventually acquitted of accessory to murder charges, but a jury deadlocked on a conspiracy charge. Then an appeals court ruled trying Aparo again would amount to double jeopardy. Last year, the U.S. Supreme Court refused to hear the case.
There is some breathing room tonight at troubled Hartford Public High School. Even with a substandard curriculum, a graduation rate below 50%, and a crumbling building, the New England Association of Schools and Colleges is extending the school's probation. The probation will remain in effect until November, when the people who make the final decision are scheduled to visit.
A sprawling sports complex, the first of its kind on the East Coast, could be coming to Connecticut in a couple of years. The developer has big plans not to move a mountain, but to build one in South Windsor. Nightbeat reporter Melissa Francis is live in Hartford with more on this project already in the works. Melissa.
Denise, this building behind me, City Place, right now is the tallest building in Connecticut, but it could have some competition soon from an indoor ski complex in South Windsor. Sounds hard to imagine, but if this happens, construction could start as soon as this year. It's easy to imagine baseball on a warm spring evening. That's something residents of South Windsor are used to. But what about indoor skiing? Developers say this is the wave of the future. Snow Valley.
You're talking about a ski slope 140 meters high that's capable of accommodating World Cup indoor ski events. And another 4 slopes which surround that, including a 90-meter full-length ski jump.
Tom Stewart is the head of Snow Valley International. He says the 5 ski lifts will accommodate 1,500 skiers per hour inside a 1 million square foot sport and leisure complex. But outside the complex, some worry about the amount of traffic that might bring to local highways. Jim Greason is one of those concerned.
Traffic will be a problem, and I don't know, is this another Six Flags kind of a deal? I think we have to understand what all the implications are.
Town manager Matt Galligan says traffic won't be a problem.
We're hoping that maybe we can convince them to do what they call flyovers from 291 right into the site, which I think will alleviate all of the traffic on the local community.
And there's other good news. At a meeting in South Windsor, Galligan said residents could see their property tax rates drop by $8 million. And others might profit too, like Hosea Singleton. She says organizers have offered to buy her land as part of their development, and she's considering it.
I don't know, because I just found out what's going on. Perhaps we will right now.
As for batting cage owner Rick Tanucci, he says he's not afraid of a little competition from a big indoor ski chalet.
To get to this new place, they'll come by my place. They'll see me and say, we'll try that too. This is baseball, that's skiing.
Officials haven't officially committed to the South Windsor site. They say there's another New England town in the running, but they won't say which one. Back to you.
Melissa Francis on the Nightbeat in Hartford.
Police in New Jersey say they have dismantled a sophisticated counterfeiting ring that made fake IDs for thousands of underage drinkers up and down the East Coast, including Yukon students. Authorities say the scheme made nearly $2 million in 2 years. Right now, there could be 800 phony driver's licenses out there made by this group. West Hartford police are making an effort to not only get guns off the streets, but also out of people's homes. After several incidents of guns getting into the hands of children, the police there are now encouraging people to turn in old or inherited firearms to possibly prevent a tragedy.
Give us a call. We'll come out to your house, and we'll make sure that it's unloaded, and we'll take it away.
Now, after the guns are processed and their ownership and history verified, they will be destroyed. Meantime, lawmakers in Congress today proposed a bill to close a loophole in the 1994 assault weapons law, which allows the sale of high-round ammunition clips that were made before the law went into effect.
There is new information tonight about one of the boys accused in the rampage at an Arkansas middle school. CBS News reports the older one, 13-year-old Mitchell Johnson, is also in trouble in Minnesota. He's accused of molesting a toddler-aged girl during a visit there last summer. Tonight, thousands of people attended a memorial service at Arkansas State University for the 4 students and a teacher gunned down at the school. Attorney General Janet Reno represented President Clinton, who sent taped remarks from Africa. Earlier today, the entire town of Jonesboro paused for a moment of silence. From schoolyards to restaurants, everything stopped at 12:40, the exact time the shots rang out 1 week ago.
Would you join me and my staff here at Dixie Cafe in Jonesboro in recognizing a minute of silence for the victims and their families?
The 2 boys accused in the ambush remain jailed, awaiting a hearing at the end of April.
In New York, there's been a conviction 6.5 years after the deadly stabbing of a Jewish scholar during racial rioting. Lemrick Nelson Jr. is getting the max, 19.5 years, for his part in Yankel Rosenbaum's killing. Nelson was convicted on federal civil rights charges for the Crown Heights incident. He had been acquitted of criminal charges in a state court.
State health officials in California are vowing to keep 28-year-old Efren Saldivar from ever practicing again. Salvador is the former respiratory therapist who claims he killed up to 50 terminally ill patients at Glendale Hospital. He did not show up at a licensing hearing late today. Meantime, police say bodies will be exhumed and autopsied, but it could be months before any charges are filed.
Bella Abzug's New York brass and wide-brimmed hats made her one of the most influential and recognizable leaders of the women's lib movement 2 decades ago. The former congresswoman has now died of complications from heart surgery at 77 years old. Abzug gave a public face to the emerging feminist movement in the 1970s. She also was a vocal opponent of the Vietnam War and President Nixon. Some of her more famous sayings, quote, "This woman's place is in the House of Representatives. And women have been trained to speak softly and carry a lipstick. Those days are over." A private funeral for Abzug will be held on Thursday.
On his trip to Africa, President Clinton is promising to push for Senate ratification of a UN environmental treaty. The president made the pledge at a game reserve in Botswana. The UN treaty was signed 4 years ago, but has been sitting in the Senate for 2 years. Mr. Clinton also managed to get a peek at another of Africa's popular sites, Victoria Falls. He's now in Senegal, the last stop on his African tour.
The threat of flooding continues for another night here in Connecticut, but to our north, there is proof of the danger. A Canadian national train derailed today in Vermont after floodwaters washed over the track. An engine and 4 cars were thrown. High temperatures have been quickly melting snow and ice in that area.
The same super warm temperatures also bring a threat of flooding here. Areas along the Connecticut River are under a flood warning right now all the way from Massachusetts to Middletown. The snow melt from up north is making its way south. Hilton will have more in just a moment.
But before we go any further, let's not forget the scene a year ago tonight. An April Fool's storm named Florence downed power lines and trees. This was the scene in Granby where heavy snow, ice, and wind became too much for many branches, which snapped under all the weight.
Now, from the Channel 3 New England Weather Service, forecast first.
And as you can see from those train pictures, there's still plenty of snow cover up north, and you look at these high temperatures with readings in the mid-80s all the way to the Canadian border, and you can see why snow is melting so rapidly. And that's putting water into the Connecticut River. Here are the latest stages. Hartford about 4 feet above flood stage. That's no problem right now. Middletown just barely below flood stage. So this is a minor flood right now. But here's the forecast by Wednesday, 7 p.m. The river at Hartford expected to rise to 21.4 feet, and in Middletown, the river stage expected to reach 10.2 feet. What does that mean? Well, here are critical flood stages you need to know about. If the river goes to 23 feet, residential neighborhoods from Hartford south into Rocky Hill, residential neighborhoods, some streets and roads will be flooded. And if the river rises to a height of 13 feet in Middletown, evacuations will be needed along River Road in Cromwell and along Meadow Road in Portland. Now, the river hasn't reached those levels yet. It isn't predicted to do so in the next 24 hours, but with lots of water coming downstream, I'd recommend that you take the next day or so and look around your neighborhood to see what evacuation routes you might have to use in case you need to follow them. Our forecast first for tonight shows mild temperatures overnight inland, dropping to around 57 by daybreak. On the shoreline, temperatures also milder than normal for this time of the year, dropping into the low 50s. We'll have our complete forecast, show you how hot it got, coming up in just a few minutes.
Okay, thanks, Hilton. It's a whole new life after a successful whale release off the California coast. JJ, the gray whale, was rescued as an infant and raised in captivity. Today, he was lowered into the water from a Coast Guard cutter to face all the pleasures and perils of freedom at sea. The crew of a spotter boat saw JJ surface about an hour later. The 9.5-ton whale was headed north.
And could JJ be swimming to one of the richest places to live in the nation? One Connecticut town holds that ranking, and you'll see which one. Also on the Nightbeat from Connecticut's news station, researchers find some proof coffee is good for you, at least if you don't overdo it.
Are the plants that handle fruits, vegetables, and processed foods being inspected often enough? Wait until you hear how often they're looked at.
But first, is the ambulance company that serves one suburban town doing a good enough job? Some say no, and you'll see what they're planning to do.
Stay with Denise and me. The Nightbeat is coming right back for West Hartford, West Haven, Waterford, and your hometown, too. We'll be right back.
Channel 3 Eyewitness News. This is Connecticut's news station.
Looks great, sits great, and is only $7.99.
Both pieces only $7.99?
Yep, both pieces.
I don't like the blue.
No problem. Choose from 75 fabrics at no extra charge.
For this print?
No extra charge.
This plaid?
No extra charge.
I'd like to see it before I buy it.
With my goof-proof computer system, you get to see it before you buy it. That way there's no mistake. Here's your plaid, stripe, here's your print.
Stop, that's it.
You know me, the guy who tells you to put your seatbelt on. Sure, you see a door's open, you do something about it. I light up, I go ding, and still you don't put your belt on. What is it with you people? Listen to this.
I'm Governor John Rowland. We want you and your family to be safe, so please, buckle up.
Yeah, and it's the law. Get caught without your belt, you'll get a ticket. And if you don't get caught, you could get worse. So put it on. Now, can we get going here?
There is a move at the Capitol to give some lawmakers, including Governor Rowland, pay raises. A special legislative panel is now recommending the governor's salary be increased from $78,000 a year to $130,000. They also want to give raises to all state legislators and other high-ranking elected officials. If approved by the General Assembly, these raises would be the first since the 1980s.
Also covering Connecticut tonight, the town of West Hartford is planning to fine its ambulance company for taking too long to get to some emergency calls. The contract with American Medical Response specifies how quickly ambulances have to get to the scene of an emergency. Now, in a statement, American Medical Response says its crews arrive on time 90% of the time, and any delays have in no way affected patient care.
In Waterbury, work continues at the site of the former Waterbury Clock Company to determine whether it is contaminated with radium, which was used to paint the dials on clocks. There are now homes on the site, along with some small businesses. Radium is potentially radioactive. Officials are working on cleaning it up. Well, here's an unappetizing thought. Some of the food we buy comes from factories that are federally inspected only once every 10 years.
Well, that's why Congress is considering a new bill now that would step up the inspection process to increase food safety and prevent food poisoning.
One side of my mouth was swollen like a balloon. I went to the emergency room twice, saw about 6 doctors over a period of several weeks, had numerous tests run.
Last summer, Lady Lee of Dallas got very sick after eating snow crabs that had not been cooked enough by the seafood packer to kill a parasite. Right now, seafood plants are inspected on the average 2 to 3 times a year. Factories that produce food not containing meat or poultry are inspected once every 10 years.
When we tell our children to eat vegetables, we want to make sure they're not getting anything but vitamins. That's what this all boils down to.
Congress is now considering a bill that would not only require quarterly inspections, but also allow the FDA to inspect food plants in other countries, to register all food plants, to recall contaminated food, and to fine violators. But the food industry says the plan overlooks the worst offenders.
It's going to divert FDA away from focusing its scarce resources on the riskiest foodborne illness problems.
Now, this bill is one of 5 food safety measures now before Congress. It's not clear whether any of these will pass. Congress has been reluctant to impose more regulations on the food industry.
2 of the biggest female names in music came to Connecticut tonight. Sarah McLachlan and a special guest performer, Lisa Loeb, played to a sold-out crowd at the Oakdale in Wallingford tonight. You may remember both women were part of last summer's immensely popular Lilith Fair, the all-women tour that McLachlan herself organized.
Now, from the Channel 3 New England Weather Service, Forecast First.
And your Forecast First calls for a continuation of milder than normal weather, but not unprecedented weather. Here's the Forecast First for overnight areas inland. And you see temperatures dropping from near 60 to the upper 50s, and then when the sun comes up with mostly cloudy to partly cloudy skies, temperatures rising into the upper 60s in the inland areas. On the shoreline, because of the closeness of the cold waters, temperatures stay just a tad cooler on the shoreline, dropping down overnight to around a wake-up temperature of 60 degrees, and during the morning getting up into the low 60s. All right, right now at the Channel 3 New England Weather Service in Hartford, here's what we have for you. A temperature of 63 degrees, the dew point 57, a light southeasterly breeze, and across the area right now, temperatures in the 60s and 50s right along the shoreline, 56 in Groton. We've got 64 degrees in Torrington and 60 degrees in Meriden. And look at these highs, 80s all over the map this afternoon, including 89 in Enfield and 86 in Torrington. Let's check these records for you. Across Connecticut, this temperature was the hottest March day ever in Connecticut. This was a record for Bridgeport, 74 degrees. That 89-degree temperature in Boston, the hottest March day ever. That 86-degree temperature in New York City, the hottest March day ever. So we have had some unprecedentedly warm weather. That 84-degree temperature in Burlington, the hottest March temperature ever in Burlington. Their temperature now has dropped to 38 degrees as a cool front has slipped down. So they've really plummeted. We've got some changes heading in our direction. It's going to get cooler. Here's your forecast for tonight. We call for a dry night, a mild night, some high thin clouds, temperatures 52 to 62 for overnight lows. And then for tomorrow, we see some mix of sun and clouds, chance of a shower, a thunder shower late in the day, temperatures near 70 for highs. By Thursday, the forecast planner shows a high of only 60, 55 for Friday, and we get into the upper 40s for Saturday and Sunday. So we drop from way above normal to down to normal, and then finally for the weekend, slightly below normal.
I guess we'll just have to adjust with all of it.
It's a roller coaster here in
Okay.
this part of the country.
Thanks, Hilton. Straight ahead of the Nightbeat tonight, safety experts say there's danger lurking in the White House, and the reason is 1-3 on your side has been warning you about for weeks.
Also ahead, someday the money we carry may be looking more like credit cards. We'll tell you about the possibility of a big change.
And on a similar note, men are not just a dime a dozen anymore, and the reason has to do, perhaps, with the environment. More on Channel 3 Eyewitness News, Connecticut's news station.
This is the way libraries used to be. Kind of quiet, kind of dull, just a lot of books, but not anymore. Today, Connecticut's libraries are different. We're the one-stop source for all your information needs. Bestsellers, magazines, CDs, video, the internet, whatever your age, whatever your interest, we'll take you as far as you want to go. And you'll find the most knowledgeable information professionals anywhere. So come on in and visit your public library, Connecticut's libraries. We're not just books.
If you've been injured, you need the power of experienced lawyers. Haymond and Lundy, attorneys with the skill to get you the money you deserve. Now, one of the largest personal injury law firms in the Northeast, with massive resources. Haymond and Lundy, two personal injury law firms joining forces.
In personal injury litigation, power is everything. Let our power work for you.
I'm Marvin London.
I'm John Heyman, and that's our promise.
In 3 on your side tonight, Connecticut is home to one of the richest places to live in the country, according to a new survey. The Colorado mountain resort town of Aspen is ranked #1, followed by Palm Beach, Florida, and Greenwich. Newport, Rhode Island was #9. Aspen has some pretty pricey property. Home prices there average $2 million each. Well, printing money on plastic instead of paper might help foil counterfeiters, but it's hardly foolproof. That from the head of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, which has done some preliminary studies on several types of plastic currency. The House Banking Subcommittee is looking for ways to fight counterfeiters armed with computers and inkjet printers. And possible danger in the White House. You've seen our reports on Omega sprinkler heads that the Consumer Product Safety Commission wants recalled. There are dozens of them in the White House, as fire experts recently discovered on a tour. The sprinklers had a 75% failure rate when tested by a fire department in Virginia.
On the Health Beat tonight, concerned about kidney stones? Consider a cup of coffee or two. Researchers at Brigham and Women's Hospital found women who had the highest intake of caffeinated beverages had the lowest risk of kidney stones. And wine may be even better. A new study in the Annals of Internal Medicine found a glass of red or white wine a day can cut the risk of stones by 59%. But remember, moderation is key. Another new study finds the diet drug Redux may not cause heart damage after all. Researchers at Georgetown University Medical Center studied 1,000 patients who took Redux and found they did not have a higher rate of heart valve disease than those who did not take the drug. Redux was voluntarily removed from the market back in September. It's a Boy is not being announced in delivery rooms quite as often as it used to. Researchers writing in the Journal of the American Medical Association find the ratio of boy babies to girl babies fell slightly in the U.S. and Canada between 1970 and 1990. It's believed that environmental factors may block embryos from developing into males.
A lot of boys out there today, though, as we return to America's pastime.
Yes, a lot of baseball action opening up today. Mets open the baseball season. They played the Phils in a marathon at Shea today. Plus, Wade Boggs is now swinging his bat down in Florida. We'll check out the new expansion Devil Rays. And there's a Wildcat party going on in Kentucky. Harvey's highlights are coming up, so stay up.
The biggest world premiere events are on CBS. From Eric Siegel's most anticipated novel since Love Story comes a romance that will take you places you've never been before.
She's as beautiful as she was that night in Amsterdam.
Marissa Tomei, Rob Morrow, Only Love. And the saga continues where the last Don left off. Welcome back into the family. Mario Puzo's The Last Don 2. The biggest world premiere events are on CBS. Coming soon.
Hi, I'm Brian Foley. Most of us think that being a successful business person is great, but for me, being a dad is what I am really proud of. When you think about it, one of the best investments we can all make in our lives is in our kids. Remember, dads do make a difference.
Can you please read this book, Daddy?
Okay.
It's Bob's Believe It or Not. Oak bookcase headboard, extra firm mattress, matching foundation, steel bed frame, $200, believe it or not.
Believe it, only $200.
Welcome back to the Hartford Wolfpack, tuning up for the playoffs. Move back into a first-place tie with Springfield by skating past the St. John Leafs, 6-2 tonight. Let's go to the Hartford Civic Center. Wolfpack goalie Rob Stauber's caught right out of net, and he pays dearly. Mark Dial puts the Leafs ahead 1-0, but the Pack go ahead in the second. Watch Vladimir Vorobiev make it 3-2 Hartford with the shot there. Cheap shot after the game. Dale Puritan with the headbutt. Boom! Oh, man. Boo. Pack win it, however. 6-2, your final score at the Civic Center tonight. Mets open with a day-night affair. They take 4.5 hours to beat the Phillies. 1-0 in 14 innings. Let's go to Shea Stadium. Bobby Jones tossed a two-hitter over 6 innings. Watch the ball drop out. Oh, what a pitch. Game remains scoreless till the bottom of the 14th. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Alberto Castilla delivers the game-winning hit off Connecticut's Ricky Batalico. Mets win it 1-0. American League. Red Sox and Yanks open tomorrow night out west. And baseball's new expansion team, the Devil Rays, got pounded by the Tigers 11-6. Let's go to Tropicana Field. Nice park outside and inside, tossing out the first pitches. That's Stan the Man Musial and Ted Williams. It was Tigers 11-0 when former Sox and Yankees great Wade Boggs put Tampa Bay on the scoreboard. 2-run homer for Boggs. Devil Rays, though, go down 11-6, your final score. NBA tonight, Knicks had no way to stop the Spurs' inside game of Tim Duncan and David Robinson. San Antonio wins at 95-78. Let's go to Madison Square Garden. Tim Duncan, watch the nice move. You ain't going to stop him. Duncan again at the other end. He finished with 25 points. Robinson at 24. And without Patrick Ewing, the Knicks lose it. Final score, 95-78. At the Miami Arena, Rick Pitino's Celtics whipped by the Heat, 121-95. Watch Walter McCarty. Throws the slam. That's how it went for Boston tonight. Mark Strickland finishes at the other end. Take a look at the nasty collision coming up. Alonzo Mourning banging heads with Andrew DeClerc. Boom. Zoe winds up with a broken left cheekbone. Celtics lose 121-95. And finally, Pitino's former team, the Kentucky Wildcats, headed home to celebrate with their fans tonight. Let's go to Lexington, where they hoisted the championship banner before a big crowd. Cats are still sky high following Monday night's win over Utah, and you saw it right here on Channel 3.
They've given us a new name now, the Comeback Cats.
Comeback is right.
All right, thanks, Harv.
And that'll do it for Eyewitness News Nightbeat. Thanks for sharing your time with us tonight.
Hal's back tomorrow. Have a good one.
Thanks for making Channel 3 your #1 news station in the morning.
To 50 mercy killings. Saldivar claims the deaths took place while he was working here at Glendale Adventist Hospital outside